Hello and welcome to Lunch with the Editor. As usual, we look at the current issue of the Outlook magazine. This week, we have focused on the waste mismanagement crisis in the country, primarily looking at Delhi. Delhi is probably one of the worst examples of just simply dumping waste all over, solid waste all over. No technology involved, no modernity involved, no mechanisms involved. Waste is being collected from all over the city. It's not just a city, it's a city-state. From all over, waste is being collected and simply taken to landfills and dumped, creating a mountain. In fact, two mountains, one in East Delhi and one in North Delhi. The situation is so bad that this new mountain has prompted the Supreme Court to tell the government that you might as well fit a beacon to warn the approaching aircraft. This is becoming as big as Qutub Minar, so it is better to put it, because the government can't do anything better. Government can't do anything else. So at least put a beacon, at least put a warning light atop these mountains that you have created so that approaching aircraft would get warned. That is the explosive situation of the waste mismanagement in the national capital. And it has to be underscored that we have the situation about 2 or 3 years after the central government initiated its much publicized Swachh Bharat program. So from these mountains, it's very clear that we haven't really achieved anything other than a lot of publicity.
Absolutely right there. But I think, the problem is successive governments. They've talked about modernizing Delhi. We've got the metro, which has done wonderful stuff. We've changed the landscape, done a lot of other stuff. How come just outside Delhi, as if you can't really, it also shows kind of an Indian mentality. In front of my house, things should be clear. Then I just sweep away the garbage a little aside, so that people, it's not the entrance to my house is absolutely fine. It's almost like that. Delhi, within the city, you don't see it, but in and around.
No, I would say that it is no longer, we cannot even call it in and around, because
now it's encroaching.
Yeah, because Delhi has grown,
expanded.
So Delhi has grown now, so these landfills are no longer at the exits and entrances of Delhi.
True.
They are now part of NCR. People are living, particularly in Ghaziabad. Not very far from both of us live.
Absolutely.
The biggest landfill in Delhi is in Ghazipur. Delhi has grown beyond Ghazipur till Ghaziabad, which is a district in Uttar Pradesh. So this is
now very much part of Delhi.
Very much part of Delhi.
Yeah.
These landfills are very much part of Delhi. People are living in and around those landfills.
True. And we've had this, some months back, I think last year this happened. There was this accident. There can be more such accidents killing large number of people. Apart from that, the entire thing that a modern city, it's a capital. You have not been able to come up with some kind of an idea how to manage your waste.
The hill just exploded, killing a commuter. The mountain that has been created with this garbage just exploded on its own, and there was some sort of a landslide of garbage, creating such a havoc that a person got killed. A complete innocent commuter who was driving past.
Absolutely.
So a tragedy, a huge time bomb ticking right underneath the national capital. So if this is the situation, if this is the situation in the national capital, then one can very well imagine how waste is being managed across the country.
In fact, but we've seen in some of the smaller places where they have managed, which is also reflected in some of the stories in the magazine. I think, they should really look at it a little more seriously. What is the best practice? And try and implement it. It's really high time that we do something very, very urgently, and see it as a major problem, a very serious problem, and accordingly, how it can be handled.
The other big stories that we have dealt with in this issue, primarily a ground report from Western UP on the Dalit outrage. All these attacks on Dalits, all these attacks on Ambedkar statues, this animosity towards the most oppressed people of this country, it is finally coming to a boil. The people, the Dalits of Western UP particularly, and I'm sure this would be the situation across Uttar Pradesh, are up in arms. So Pragya Singh, our colleague, travelled across Western UP to reflect the grave situation, the anger that is there amongst Dalits.
And because she has been visiting Western UP, she's been talking about these riots or small little clashes which have been taking place, maybe not as widely reported in the media, but they have been going on for a while now. It is only now that they perhaps have decided to hit back, or show their anger, show their protest in a big way after the Supreme Court judgment. Also, that would be, something which sparked off the entire thing. But this has been building up. It's a really very serious one. Having Ambedkar Jayanti and trying to outdo each other on how better we can celebrate, how much we like or respect him, doesn't really matter in this case. Because you have to go much beyond. Throughout the year, what are your policies? How do you deal with these people and their concerns?
These issues are going to be very crucial. Particularly, we should understand that BJP had 173 out of 80 seats in Uttar Pradesh in 2014. So in 2019, if one section, which comprised roughly 20% of the population, 18 to 20% of the population, if this entire community is going to turn against one party or the government, how serious it is going to be politically, electorally, the writing is on the wall. And Bhavna, which writing about BJP's response, she's pointedly pinning the blame primarily on UP administration, which hasn't been able to tackle these issues in the last 1 year. So that's another big story that we had. And we have also focused on the Karnataka elections and how Yediyurappa's politics is playing out, and whether he will be able to snatch the initiative from Siddaramaiah, who seems to have an upper hand as of now.
Which you can't really write off.
No, not at all. Very, very strong contender. Normally people of Karnataka vote out their incumbent chief ministers, but this time it is going to be a very tough fight between the Congress and the BJP, and probably the Janata Dal Secular acting as a spoiler on the margin. So a very, very interesting election that's happening in Karnataka, and we are focusing on these elections every week. We have something or the other.
Also the wider implication of
absolutely.
That will be very, very important.
Yeah, so we have also looked at the ICICI corruption saga. Our columnist Sunil Bari, veteran bureaucrat, is very angrily asking Chanda Kochhar to step down. And there is also a very interesting film review about the movie Blackmail. Delhi Belly was a huge hit. In fact, I don't know how far commercially it was a success. I don't know how much money it made. I don't have the figures with me. But as someone who liked it hugely, I had almost become a fan of overnight sensation. That is Abhinay Dev. Abhinay Dev was the director of Delhi Belly, and now he has come out with his second movie, Blackmail. Again, Irfan has done a brilliant role, and I wouldn't rate it as highly as Delhi Belly, but I would certainly recommend the movie. It is a must-watch movie.
The interesting part is that we knew his parents, Ramesh Deo and his wife, and now the son is doing well. He is making some kind of an impact.
Tell us about his parents.
His parents had, in stage they were much better known, in Marathi stage, but in Indian films like Anand, I'm sure many of the viewers must have seen this movie, Rajesh Khanna, Amitabh Bachchan. There he acted, both the husband and wife, they had his mother and father, both were there. And they had small roles. Ramesh Deo unfortunately did many of these villainish kind of characters, did not really do full justice to his acting ability, which he did much more on the stage. People who are familiar with the Marathi stage, they know him very well, and his wife. And the son coming out as a director, he was in the ad world, and Delhi Belly was the first one, and now he has done this. It's an interesting theme, I'm told. I haven't seen the movie yet, but one, you can say a bit raunchy at times. That is what Delhi Belly was also. It was a new way of looking at things, and so is Blackmail, I guess.
So let us look at some of the response that we have got from our viewers. Pradeep Chawda saying that he had stopped buying Outlook many years ago, but then why are you still coming here? So obviously you have an obsession, which is very nice. Then Jayantran Kagu, India has become an immovable garbage mountain, no doubt about it. That is exactly what has happened. Who is responsible? Who made it? Yes, our rulers, no doubt about it. We cannot say that this is one person's responsibility. In the last so many years, we haven't yet found a viable way to treat solid waste in our national capital and in all the big cities of this country. So all those people who have ruled us, all those people who have run the governments across the country are responsible. Azhar Khan saying that even the administration is taking seriously the employees of MCD, the situation is very, very sad. While cleaning the sewers, while going down the drains, they get killed. It's that bad. It is that rudimentary. There is no mechanization happening even there.
You need modern management to deal with that. There are various kind of equipments, various kind of policies which are being used elsewhere. I'm sure that it's not so difficult to find out, what are the best ways of doing it, and without harming people, who have to work. As he said, that very primitive way of going inside the sewer, risking your life. Instead of doing that, there are better ways of doing it, but it needs to be clean. That is for sure.
Shri Mahadev pointing out that garbage management should be community driven. Totally agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. Each one of us, as Mahatma Gandhi had always said, each one of us should consider it our own duty. He had said that let us all become bhangis. That is an old term which has become a caste slur now. That itself shows that how we look at this problem. We create waste and we want somebody else to clean it for us. There cannot be a more absurd situation than what has happened in our country.
Yes, I think one is cleaning part.
Yeah.
The other is what you do with it also, which is equally important. You have cleaned it up, then what do you do with that waste? How do you get rid of that?
Yes.
This is one of the biggest problems because it has been dumped.
Yes.
And more every day is being put on that dump.
Yes. So, and also, how inextricably caste is related to cleanliness, caste is related to sanitation. It is the saddest part, because here almost 100% employees who are employed or contracted to work to clean garbage, to lift garbage from point A to point B, they all belong to one caste. So end of the day, the rest of the society is sort of saying that, this is not our job, this is not our problem, this is somebody else. That is not, you can never, can we say that, our own personal hygiene and personal cleanliness is somebody else's problem, that someone else should come and clean ourselves? So as long as we don't understand, as long as we don't imbibe the Gandhian spirit of cleaning our own garbage, I don't think that there is a long-term solution. But yes, it is becoming explosive. The waste management situation, the mountains that we have created, the new mountains that we have created within our cities are an explosive problem for new urban life. So let us hope and pray that there would be some solution.
And urgently it needs to be done, because there is no point in blaming who started it first. It is there and it needs to be cleaned in a scientific manner. How you get rid of it. That is something which needs to be done.
That's all for today. Thanks for joining.